everybody, we're here today. Eventually we've connected. I have Ashita and Gary with me. Don't I, people?
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, we've come for a discussion, haven't we?
Yeah, it's about the first time we've done one together for a good couple of years, isn't it, Ashita? Something like that.
I think the last
one was like... Was it last year?
Yeah,
I think it was the year before.
One last year.
I don't remember the one. It's been a while anyway, isn't it?
I think a couple of years at least. I don't think last year we had one.
That's bad, guys.
Well, you know, time don't exist, so the thing is, that's why one of us can feel like it's just a year, and the other one can feel it's a couple of years, because time's speeding up and it's being condensed, so that makes perfect sense. But no, what we're here to talk about is, to begin with, we've got so much to get through in this hour, is Mandelson, Epstein and Starmer, and it's just like one big clown show. Yeah. I mean, you know, to think you would employ someone unless you had a boot up your bum, unless Keir Starmer was told you had to do it, you'd employ someone that was known to sort of like associate with a bloody one of the biggest paedophiles in history, which he knew 5 or 6 years ago. You wouldn't touch that bloke with a barge pole.
Do you know, Gary, I think it's even worse than that, by the way. What I think it is they all of them, including Trump, Epstein and another guy, they all had modelling agencies where they were bringing these foreign women over as call girls.
Yeah, and do you know something? It probably come from over there. They probably sat around and said... Making money out
of that when they're telling you, oh no, immigration, all that at us, when they're actually doing it themselves and bringing these women in and then selling their bodies.
You know,
it's almost like, you know, they've put upon the world all this, like, hikes in prices and everything to make us feel like we're struggling, right? In order to distract us, well, not distract us, but just to get our minds completely off the topic. I know, like, there's going to be soldiers and stuff out there, but if you think about what is happening, like, in the background with them and everything that's sort of come to light over the last 5 years, it's like the world is crumbling. And
yeah, I agree with you, Ashita.
I don't know.
They're losing control. I think that this is desperate times for them. I think because too many people are waking up. You know, we've all been like this for a very long time. Me, pretty much all my life when I was a kid. And I think like they're clutching at straws and they're doing everything. I think their whole system's crumbling around them. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, for sure. Because honestly, when you see just the cost of living now is insane. It's almost like they don't want you, like they'll bombard you on social media with a lot of nonsense anyway. And then there's just story after story after story after story, all to keep you away from what the real problem is, yes, which we all know it's been,
do you know I've been looking at this last couple of days? Not that I'm very interested in them, but Ashita, I've got a picture of me and Trump together. My one of my children did it for me as a Christmas present because they know I hate him. It says love.
Oh, I thought you meant you met him.
No, well, I'm outside the White House with it, and it says love Donald. I don't like him, but anyway, I was just looking at things. There's all things about him. Then there's his health. He seems to be seriously ill, actually. And also, Marlena is now dumped into all this Epstein files, her residency. She's arguing with a reporter. The person that introduced her to Donald Trump is one of those people from the modelling thing, so you can see what she must have been. I think, it just all sounds really horrible.
Like, that world is just, like, it's really sinister in the way that you get involved with that kind of stuff. So there's no one within that industry that hasn't got their hands dirty to some degree or has been a victim of
that's what they do, don't they? Like, Keir Starmer should go. He's always saying, it didn't come to my desk. So what? That means he's not responsible? He was responsible for all of it and he denied it.
You know what it is? I think all these people are handpicked, like when they're children, they go through MK Ultra programs, right? And then they got them by the ghoulies, like, for the rest of their life. Basically, they're told whatever they're told to do, they do precisely what they do. And I think Starmer was told in no uncertain terms, listen, this guy spent an awful lot of time with Epstein, like you got to give him a role as ambassador because we're scared that this guy's going to start chirping up, and you know you would never in a million years if the world was real, you would never employ Peter Mandel. Wouldn't touch him with a barge pole.
Yeah, he's already got failed things, and then they employed him again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You wouldn't touch him with a barge pole unless you got pressure from high above and from over the pond, like to look. This guy knows so much. Like, you know, we got all these files about him with Epstein and one thing and another. He can do anything he wants to do because we're scared he's going to chirp up. All right, people could turn around and say, well, why don't they just get a hitman to take him out? Maybe he's sort of like turned around and said, just like Heather Mills McCartney, I've left all this information with regard to sort of like Billy Shears not being Paul McCartney. I've left all this stuff with solicitors on the event of my untimely death. You know, if I die of old age, one thing. In the event of my untimely death, all this stuff's going to come out anyway. You know, this is how these people operate. They blackmail each other, and this is what
they do that.
They've all got stuff on each other, Karen. They've all got stuff on each other.
Right now, I think, because Trump's supposedly so ill, all the things that are going on with Marlena, they say that her residence is Florida, but she is the president's wife. But I think he needs to get on with his own life. He probably hasn't got that long to live.
I think he's got a little bit of dementia as well, because...
Yes, I've just done that video now. He's got dementia, probably heart problems, he's had a stroke. He needs things to help him walk. You're like... He's got his fingers and all those buttons. Get him out.
Yeah.
Wait, you're talking about Trump or Stalmer?
Trump's had all these problems. Strokes, dementia, heart problems.
Oh, isn't this what happened with the previous president?
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. It's like a rerun now.
It was like a comedy show. It was like a comedy show with Biden, wasn't it? I mean, you know, he was like, how on earth, like, could that bloke, he's obviously like a Rothschild puppet, like, you know.
If you had 10 people to vote for, you'd never vote for him, but you only had either him or him. So...
Well, you know,
yeah.
I mean, you know they're selected, not elected, because
yeah.
I've yet to speak to one person that likes Starmer.
No, I haven't either. They all tell me they don't like him.
Even people that are Labour voters, like, they turn around and say, oh no, I didn't vote this time at all, because I don't like Starmer. And you think, well, how did this guy get in?
Because they were selected, which is what you said.
It's like Sadiq Khan, the most hated mayor of London we've ever had, and he's been running in that office for like what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Okay, even gets better, Ashita. What about this then? They have made, this is almost like a clown show. They have made Tony Blair, like, that calls like the big part of the second Gulf War, the sort of like the new convoy in the Middle East for peace in Gaza. You could make it up. He was responsible for about 500,000 deaths in Iraq. You know, it's the old boys club. You know, you wouldn't give that bloke. It's like making Dracula in charge of a blood bank.
Yeah,
it's just drama, isn't it? Dynasty Dallas.
We live in Clanwell. Make it Tony Blair. My mate couldn't believe it. I said, here, Kev. I said, you know, like they've made Tony Blair like a special envoy, like for Gaza for peace. He said, you're joking. I said, I'm not. I said, it's on bleeding news. I said, turn it on. I said, yeah, it's absolutely. You couldn't make it up. It's one of them things.
I don't understand, Gary, because places like Malaysia want him for crime wars over 9/11.
Yes, that's right.
He couldn't go to certain countries. That's what they said. If he walked into certain countries, they'd arrest him.
Yeah, and also like for the Gulf War, for the legal war. You know, he should be had up in The Hague, in the criminal court in Hague, because it was an illegal war. And like I said, this is how people are starting to see all this stuff that we've seen for years. You think, how can you possibly? It's great, really, because I speak to people that are pretty much asleep on most things. But now these last few years now, they are starting to say, hang on a minute, this is like a clown show. You know, what the hell's going on? And it's great, really, because it is good for us. But it's a shame it's taken so long for this to happen, you know.
I mean, it's good, but I'm impatient because they're still going to do the same old thing, which is go vote in the next clowns that are just going to, you know, completely corrupt.
I want a new system. Ashita, I want a new system.
That's what I want as well. That's why I'm getting really frustrated and just fed up with it all, because I'm like, okay, great. You guys are you're conscious to all of this, but you're still saying vote him out. voting is not the answer, and voting in another pocket
No, he
is not the
should
answer.
resign. They both should resign. Trump and Starmer.
He will definitely resign. There's been a lot of talk the last 2 days about it. I think even the Scottish.
Yeah, the Scottish member of Parliament, the head, he's turned around and said like, and I mean, I said to my sister like a few days ago, I said, you watch Bill, the pressure's going to build up on him. And I don't think he's got no choice. He's trying to hang out as long as possible, but I don't think he's going to be there much longer.
But it's all planned. He's done so much destruction. Now that he's done what he needed to do, have you noticed every time they never finish their term, they resign.
They're always the fall guy, but they've probably get promoted. They're not really debunked. They're promoted, but they have to be humiliated.
To be honest, it's not even that. I think it's an escape strategy for them, so they can't be held accountable for a lot of stuff. If you look at what was that guy, Matt Hancock, look at all the stuff that came out under him. Has he been charged or anything? No. Scot-free because he resigned. So for me, it's like, stay in office so that something can happen.
I definitely want him to go, because I told everybody in a video about 6 months before he was voted in, you don't want him. You're right, he's done his job now. He's done what they wanted him to do.
Yeah, now he's got to sit down. Wouldn't it be good if we could get one complete area, right, and get no one to vote at all? If we could get someone, then we'd know it's a fraud. Like they try to do this in America. Apparently, they try to sort of like get a whole area where no one voted, and that way they could turn around and say, well, this is definitely like a selection because no one went to the bloody polls. I'm sure there's a way around it, but wouldn't it be good because then we'd know we can show the sheeples out there. Look, we've got.
Well, do you know what I reckon it is, Gary? Gary, listen. Only certain percentage of the counties voted. The numbers. So say it was 40% of the people voted, and the Labour Party got 30% of that. They never got in with a majority. They got in a minority.
That's right.
And this is what.
So it was a vote of no confidence, and they didn't talk about it once.
Well, this is what they need. This is why there's this huge migration issue. Like a lot of people pin it down to they just come. There's a reason why they're coming here, and they've mastered how to manipulate us in such a scale that we probably can't fathom entirely how it is. But I guarantee you that minority was from people who were brought into this country, and a bunch of people who, for whatever reason,
still believe in Labour. Trump and all that lot were doing it as well, bringing all these people in.
Yeah. Well, no, that was Biden, wasn't it?
Trump had his own model agencies, as well as Epstein and one of these other people. They all had agencies, and they were trying to put them together, bringing in these women from Eastern Europe. Well, Russia and that.
Do you know something? There's so many hotels around, not exactly around here where I live, but not too far away, where the whole hotel has been taken over by asylum seekers, and it's great because the hotel owner, he's got full occupancy and he's getting full remuneration off of the government to sort of keep his hotel full.
So many people have actually been offered that by the governments.
Yeah, the hotel's going to get wrecked, but he don't care because most of these people.
Well, you know what happens, don't you? Around the world, England is advertising for them to come here.
That's right. It's almost like they're getting a little army together, isn't it? It's like they're getting all these people like a little army together for sort of like a few years' time when they all run off to the bunkers and they're going to make a little sort of like ice in America, with it going after all the immigrants and all that.
The only good thing that's happened lately is that the ID card seems to have stopped, but most people say, they'll bring something else in, or they'll continue behind closed doors with it.
They're already introducing it. I mean, if you look at, thank God I'm at an age where when I joined social media, I was young enough. Now I'm old enough, but they're starting to introduce things where you have to verify yourself. So they're faking, like a lot of people this past 3 weeks have had their Facebook account suspended for no reason They just make up an excuse saying, oh, you know, you violated the community guidelines and all this kind of stuff. So then they make an appeal, and then they suspend it again, then it goes on forth and back, forth and back. Eventually they're like, okay, you need to do facial recognition, so like prove who you are, and upload your ID.
That's
and
what
even then, some
YouTube wants
people's
to
accounts are
do,
still...
but I haven't done it.
I'm not doing any of that. As soon as an app tries to get me to do that, that's it, I'm not using it. So far, like, they've tried it, but...
Yeah, you know what I think about this ID card? I think about it a different way. Anyone that uses social media, they've got all your information anyway. I mean, this is how people are getting caught, because they put all their whole life on social media. Like people that try and claim insurance money for accidents and one thing and another. I watched this a lot of Ashita, and there was a guy. He was like a kung fu expert, and when he was meant to sort of have a broken back, laying in bed, he was sort of like in a tournament which he actually won. And because he's sort of like... No, but this is how stupid these people are, because he put a different sort of like time and date in. He didn't realise they got the metadata where it doesn't matter what time and date you put in, you're going to have the actual time and date when you actually done it. And you know, I watch these programs and I think, how can people be so stupid? And this is the thing. They've already got the ID card anyway. They've got anyone that uses sort of like mobile phones and smart, probably got all the information they need already.
When you come into the airport, they take a picture of your face. Everybody gets their face taken in the airport.
Yeah, that's why I've stopped uploading my personal like content on there, because it's just it's like, for example, Facebook has pretty much declared, like, you either pay us like £3 a month, or we're going to sell you your data. And I'm like, okay, well, I ain't paying you. So I stopped posting stuff on my social media. I think it was just after the lockup period.
Yeah.
After I did all the protests, I just kind of switched off. So I'll post every now and again, but it's got nothing to do with me personally, nothing about my personal life, because my Facebook is no longer mine. You know, these platforms aren't ours, so...
Yeah, that's really weird, because it's called YouTube, but it's their tube, and you've got to undo all these rules, and there's different rules in each country, and it goes on. It's just madness to be in it, really.
Yeah.
Any time, the law can change, and then they'll delete you.
And not only that, like, I started using one of my, because I got about 4 YouTube accounts. And I started using one because I got a free offer for 2 months to get the subscription. And then I was looking at a bunch of videos that I had posted. I didn't get any notification. They just took that video down. And I'm like, okay, so now what? You're just purging my videos without any justification, and not even giving me a chance to... If they don't like
something, they just remove a video, but they don't strike you. It's happened to me a couple of times.
It's crazy how they can just get away with that, but at the same time, it's their platform.
Yeah, and they can take your views off. They basically shadow ban you. They're able to do all these things to your account.
Yeah, but this for me is a new scale. Like, before, they would give you like a notification, by the way, you broke this community guidelines, blah blah blah, your video is promoting violence. Then you have the option to appeal it. But now they just take it off.
The other day, they said I could re-upload it. I thought I can't. It was about 9/11, and I just thought, do you think I'm going to re-upload something about that right now with the way they are? Yeah, so I didn't. I thought I can't be bothered.
It's crazy. So I've just stopped feeding them. I'm not going to feed into them. I'm not going to contribute into their system. So I just use social media more for browsing. But even then, I honestly, with how many people are just using AI for content now, it's actually draining to be on social media.
It's all AI. I don't mind if someone does what they do, but why don't they just say they've got a green screen behind them? They're sitting in a car.
No, it's not even that. It's not even green screen.
They're lying to you. They're not telling you the truth in the first place.
No, it's not even green screen anymore. We're talking about everything is fake. It's a complete AI generated content.
Right.
And it's like, it's because it looks so realistic and it's so good. I don't want to sit there trying to decipher if this content is real or not. Like, the days where people would put critical thought and, you know, some integrity into their work is just completely gone. And I think one of the reasons they've done that is because, again, getting too close to the truth, people knowing a bit too much information. So if you bring in a tool where anyone can use, it's going to flood social media and people are going to become lazy. So I just, for me, it's just like, oh man, I really wish that we can go back to the lockup phase or just before that. Because
they were probably doing it then anyway. They were doing it in lockup as well. Sorry, Gary.
They were doing it. My friend Keith has got this new sat nav, and I know they all talk to you, but this one, you can't believe it's like a Cockney accent like mine. And if you go past the wrong turn, it says, "Oh, you idiot! Like you got to go this way now." And it's amazing. It's amazing. It's like you cannot believe that it's not a real person. And I thought to myself, I said, Keith, I said, it's uncanny, innit? I said, it almost sounds like a real person. Now, we were told there's going to be a time when computers are going to get so intelligent it's going to take over the human race. I mean, are we going to
the computer isn't intelligent, but they've had these tools for ages. They've been using it against us, but now it's in the public's hand, and I think that's what's more scarier than them having it, because with more people using it, there's just so much content out there. Like, honestly, you go on Facebook or any platform, to be honest, you cannot scroll past 3 or 4 in their content, fake pictures.
Yeah.
So, now, the kind of pictures that we were seeing in regards to, the elites, or even the truth about, flat Earth, or subject, everyone's like, oh, that's AI. They literally just bombard it with, it's AI. So people can't decipher what is real and what's not, and it's kind of like a scary time we're heading into. I mean, even on Spotify,
it's hard to know these days, isn't it? What's real and what's fake? I mean, it's getting to the crunch point where you're not sure anymore. It's like a very bizarre world we live in, where I live in with, I don't know, some B science fiction movie where what is real and what is fake. We just don't. It's like merging, isn't it?
There's this AI artist. It's completely fake. Everything about this person, this persona, is fake. But they've basically taken over the Spotify charts. But it's just AI generated music. And if you I'll send you a link for the what is it, TikTok. They even have a video of her saying, oh, so you all think that I'm fake, but I'll just tell you now, I'm not AI. I'm very much real, even though we know it's fake. It's crazy. So the world that we're living in now is not fun.
They're hoping we don't see it, because there's so many things they've done to us before. All the the fake cartoon Trumps and all that, and before the Bidens and before that. They're hoping we just don't see it. We just want something small that lasts 30 seconds on the phone, and that's what a lot of people are happy with. And they won't notice, because they're not looking for that. They're just looking for quick.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think one of the things that they're doing with this whole AI system is to nullify people to the point that it's like, because we're seeing all ridiculous things, especially like around Epstein and Trump and all this kind of stuff, like people are just making all this fake AI stuff, they're just laughing about it. So it's almost like dimming down the situation to a common. And then, I don't know.
But don't forget, they've done so many things to us. They give us all the horrible news. They want to see how we react. The whole point is to see where we break. And then they might slow down a bit. They're out there to do these things. They've got to be horrible. The news, everything.
Someone, if you watch the news, it's never joyous. You get the odd little bit of the 50, is it? It's all bad. It's all bad news, always. It's all bad news. And then at the end, they say, oh, so and so done this for charity and one thing and another. But you get a little snippet, but it's never like.
It's always we're going to war.
Exactly. It's always to keep people in a low vibration, and sort of like to keep them living in fear, and I keep on telling people all the time, I said, switch off the news. I'll watch it for a very short time in the morning just to see if I can pick up anything. Like the other day, we got the new Artemis 2 mission going to the moon camera very soon.
Oh my God!
We're going back to the moon. We've done it.
We've never been to the moon.
Yeah, of course we have them.
You
It
know why?
really is.
You know why we're going back now? Because they have enough AI tech that is out there that they can fake it, and it looks so real.
That's right. Well, the thing is, you know, the next one is the fake alien invasion. That's on the agenda. But you know, when I watched this the other day, you know, that Artemis 2, we're going back to the moon like in a couple of years. Is there still people out there that believe this, or am I living in clown world? Because if anyone still believes that in 2026, but the thing is, university professors do, because their whole life will be like when we used to go down to Hyde Park, like, you know, and you used to get like the odd guy come up from Imperial College and start talking about, oh, I mean, this is all rubbish, like this, talking about FE and one thing and another, but they never give you a reason why. But what you got to remember, their whole life has been a lie. Or like people that have been at university, you think some of them, like if it was on their deathbed, they'd say, oh no, I'm gonna tell the truth now, because they must know. They must know. They're just trained so much rubbish about solar systems and universes and different things. Like
Everything's always out there, isn't it?
It's always out
Yeah,
there.
but it's their credibility. So for them, that's their bread and butter. And if they have to
What,
go
to lie
against the
to us?
narrative, they know.
To lie to us.
Yeah, well, to them, they don't think that it's right. Put it this way: when they first got into it, anyone who is not that open-minded will swallow that BS, right? But with all the information that's come out in the last 15 years regarding flat Earth, right? If you as a can't use your critical mind and decipher that information, then you're 100% just using it for bread and butter. It's like Ike. He refuses
He's a
to touch
baddie.
this
He's one of
subject.
them.
Yeah,
He's Gary-
100%. But he
Ashita.
refuses to touch this subject because
Ashita,
he's done
he's
so
Gary
much
Glitter.
talk regarding the moon.
He plays Gary Glitter.
I mean, listen, Ashita, another thing as well, right? Anyone that goes to university and they're sort of like done a PhD or something in physics or applied mathematics or whatever, they understand maths a lot better than us. They can sort of like suss it out with regards to sort of like the curve ratio and one thing and another, and now sort of like over vast distances of water, like or anywhere for that matter, there's got to be a curvature rate. So that alone tells you what you just said a minute ago is quite correct. They're deliberately just sort of like going along with a narrative, because if they chirp up, they're going to turn around and say bye bye, and you lose your pension.
Do you know
as well.
why?
You know?
Because they think being on the globe is hip and being a flat earther is bad. But I think it's the other way round.
Well, I think it's more.
I
the
mean,
fact
you know,
that,
like really, when you actually think about things, we're not mentally ill, are we?
Wow.
No, I don't think so. Well, the thing is, like I said, I think most of them, the fair percentage of them that have looked into it, they've gone, oh crikey, what have them? And you know, they probably must say to their wife, "Dear love, never guess what, like, you know." I realise now.
I don't know, Gary. When I tell my mum things,
she
I'm
gets a
telling her
new car
things
every
she
like 5
can't-
years.
I tell her some things she can't make mistakes with. She just won't accept it. She just walks past it as if I never said it.
Yeah, but
That's what
that's
they do.
most of them
It's
because
called cognitive dissonance, isn't it?
And
it's thick.
I think a lot of them do know. I think most of them do know, but it's hushed up. They must have sort of like.
Well,
know,
you
they
might
go out
ruin
like
their
a-
world. Maybe they like the world they've got. They like it with, you know, thinking that we're on a globe spinning Mach 18
Can you
through
imagine,
different
can you
directions.
imagine at Christmas time, like, in the last 10 or 15 years, like, and they meet up for a Christmas party or something, and there's all these university professors say, "Yeah, I've looked at that flat Earth thing the other day. Like, you know, maybe it's not so stupid." And the other one turns around and says, "Oh, of course it is. It's so stupid." We'll have a look at it, and then the year after, they all get together, like they say, "Oh my God, let's just keep this quiet because we're going to lose everything."
Hey, Gary and Sheeta, do you remember when they talked to some physicists? They had nothing to say. They just say, we look at it, we go round it, we do this. There was nothing, they didn't really say anything.
Do you know something?
I mean,
when we did the Globalite tour down at Cambridge, I went to Cambridge. Obviously, it was right in the middle of where all the universities were. And the flat we took down there, you're not going to believe, they was all walking past. You could tell them straight away, like the lecturer saying, study your science, study your science, study your science. And I got talking to one of them. And I was getting through, and I could see. And then in the end, like, she was actually training to be, she was actually a student. She was training to be an architect. And I said, you know, over vast distances of water, I said, in China, like, there's a bridge 100 miles long, I said, if you go to the middle of that bridge, you should see humps going off in all directions, like. And I could see the cogs turning in her brain, like. She was Korean, this woman, or Japanese, and she said, "Oh my God, yeah, I didn't think of that." I said, "Yeah," I said, "No one does." I said, because we've all been taught by sort of like Rockefeller.
We believe the black box. We believe the black box.
We believe this. I mean, when you're a young kid and they turn around and say to you, "This is where you live," you know, I've even questioned it then. You know, it's like, "Oh, excuse me, miss, how comes the water?"
Yeah, but we're different, aren't we? Because for some reason, years ago, we all woke up.
Yeah, and
I'm grateful that I did in my young years.
Why is it though? Why is it though that some people just see it straight away? As soon as when I was living in Barnet, like, I got something up on my tablet, like, it said, "Research flat Earth," like, and I watched about 2 or 3, and straight away, 2 or 3 videos. I'm as you know, Cal, I'm quite good at maths and physics, and I thought, my God, but you know what it is? You don't think about it because you know you sort of like you go out of sort of like school. I went to sort of like Wilson College of Technology, so I was learning sort of like stuff about cars and mechanical things. You don't think about it. So from the time you leave school, you have no reason to look at it. All right, you go in someone's house and you see a globe sitting there, but you just don't think about it. And this is. I can't.
No, but I think it's because they've made it impossible for you to think about it. Because even now, when like I know in my younger years, I loved science, I loved space, and all this kind of stuff. But I never could really comprehend what they were breaking down. It didn't make sense. They were just talking. Yeah. And then you look at the flat Earth topic and how you think, and you start calculating things, and you see it clear as day. Whereas with the scientific.
Sorry about that. I had a phone call. Anyway, I'm back on now.
Where was we? I turned around and said, I was just speaking to Ashita there, and I said, with me, my number one proof is like a gas pressure living next to a vacuum without solid separation, and it's impossible. It can't be done. It cannot be done. We have to have a firmament. We've got some kind of covering over this realm where we live, because they can't show me in a laboratory. And if any sort of like university professor is it, I'm quite happy to go. Like I've always said to you, Karen, like with Tim Peake, when I demolished his Ask an Astronaut book, when I come down and stay with him, at the end of the day, I'm quite happy to go on any mainstream channel. And all they want me to, they're not going to have someone like me, because I'm going to turn around and say to them, I'm just going to say to a university professor, I don't care, it's an astrophysicist, anything, I'll say, right, I want you to come in, we're meeting here next week in this studio in the Sky News, and I want you to show me, in laboratory conditions, how a gas pressure lives next to a vacuum without solid separation. They're never going to do it, because they can't do it. Simple as that.
Yep. One of the ones that I'm definitely sticking with is elevation measurements, because they say they know how far the sun is and all this kind of stuff. But in order to get those measurements, they would need to. It needs to be measured in a way with elevation, and the only way that you can do that is having a flat plane surface, regardless what it is that you're trying to measure, whether it's on a big scale or a small scale. So, if there was curvature, there's no way they'll be able to get those calculations accurately. It's impossible.
Crepuscular rays. I wonder if any sort of like astrophysicist has walked with his wife or with like his children.
Gary, it's not even that. We're to get the crepuscular rays. The sun is just there on top of the clouds.
The thing is, if the sun was 93 million
you
miles away,
you can see them. You can see those things as well.
Yeah. It's impossible. It's impossible because the light, if it was 93 million miles away, we wouldn't get any heat out of it at all, and it would all come to us in parallel lines, And like I said, what demolishes it for me, like with the sun being close and local, is crepuscular rays. It's there. It's literally whether sort of like it's the apparent sun, the actual sun's outside the dome, or whatever. I don't know, like a prism. I don't know, because none of us are going to know until we pass. But at the end of the day, we know that the sun is just there. It's literally. It's
the complete opposite of what they've told you it is. But I suppose they want you to feel small and the sun's really big, but it's sort of the other way round. You're the big thing. What we live on is big.
All you have to do is just sit there for 20 minutes, half an hour, and just observe it. You don't even need to, some people don't take the time out to actually sit and observe their surroundings to understand how things work or how they move. And on a sunny day with some clouds, you'll see that sun going through those clouds, producing those rays, especially around sunset. Sunset's the perfect time to kind of capture it. Late afternoon sunset.
I've seen the moon on top of the sea go up into the clouds. I see the moon below the houses over there. It sometimes comes up in a place over there. And when I see it, it's below roof heights.
The inverse square law of light demolishes the sun being 93 million miles, because it's like the curvature ratio. You've got the inverse square law of light, which every mile, every say 100 miles or whatever, it's further away, it's going to be less and less powerful. Number one, we won't be able to see the sun at 93 million miles for a start. Number two, we'd get no heat off of it.
Also, Gary, you know that refraction thing? You know when you start taking pictures, you can sort of see it in the picture. And that's only maybe a mile or two, like, in the distance. So the sun can't even be that far away because it doesn't happen to the sun.
I think the sun is anywhere between 30 miles away and a couple of hundred miles away.
No, Gary, it's just above the clouds. The clouds are 500 feet up.
And the one that I love the most is when you see the sun and the moon in your field of view. That is for me the biggest giveaway. If they can't sit there and say like, oh, because at the end of the day, if the moon is supposed to be some other place on Earth, right? Why is it here when the sun is coming up?
Yes.
It should be impossible.
Do you know something, Ashita?
Oh yeah, don't forget, we're going anti-clockwise with the moon and clockwise with the sun. So how does that happen?
Darren Marble, like, done it about 10 years ago. He done this thing whereby he had a friend in Australia, he was in America, another geezer was over here, and they all see the sun at the same time, which is meant to be impossible. They all see the sun at the same time, which is like, I sometimes think, I think we can actually, I believe this, like, we can change this reality, and this is what they're scared of, like the powers that be, the people that run the dark side. We need, if we have enough of us, like, that think the way we do, I think we've been dumbed down so much. I think we can actually change reality. I think we're that powerful.
Reality has to, I mean, to be honest, reality has changed, like, in every way, like, for majority of the people. And the more people look into this stuff and finally get a grip on it, illusion just becomes more of a, I don't know, past tale or something. Like, I can't sit here and tell you what this place is, but what I do know is I haven't got that fantasy thinking that, like, we're going through space and there's all these other planets outside and probably there's aliens.
Do you know what I don't understand?
Yeah.
When I say something to somebody, what sounds more terrifying? Going Mach 80 in 3 different directions and we could hit something in space and it blows us up, or stationary? And they look at you as if you've, like, stabbed them. I don't get it. Like, isn't going Mach 80 that anything could hit us because we don't know where we're going?
I don't even think it's the information that's scary. It's the deception that is scary for people. Because that, if I can look back when I discovered, like, flat Earth, I remember kind of going through a little bit of a mental break, not like a obvious mental breakdown, but just thinking like how can people be so duped, and why is no one even? Yeah, like I remember thinking, like, feeling a little bit nutty because I was thinking, all of this makes sense to me. I go out and I have a look into the world and it's all there right in front of my eyes this whole fucking time. I never questioned it. And I just felt so, I can't even pinpoint what the word is.
Mine is that water seeks its level, and as we're 3/4 water, and when it's level, can't be a globe then, can it?
I don't think it's the information that's scary to people. It's the fact that they could lie to people on such a scale. That's what's scary.
They don't seem to think that we've been through that process. It wasn't very nice for us waking up either. Like, oh my God, who else knows this?
There's some. We were geared for this.
Her husband, because he understood it straight away, he's a very intelligent man. He had almost a nervous breakdown. That's how deep it is, because, you know, if you've got someone like him that's sort of like probably had this fantastic education, it's absolutely brilliant education. Like, you know, his family are very wealthy, bit of university, done a highly intelligent guy, and then suddenly he just thinks to himself, my God, it's all a load of gobbledygook, you know. And for some people, I think it hits them really hard, and with him, it really did. It affected him psychologically. With me, I just see it, and I've just thought to myself, my God, you know, some things that I've thought my whole life. Because, you know, as you quite rightly know, Ashita, you know, I was 9 years old. I'm 65 now. I was 9 years old when the moon land happened. And, you know, because I see things a different way, because I've got this very slight Asperger's. Like, I'll tell you, I said straight away, it's in the studio. I just knew it. I knew it straight away. I told my dad. I said, that's not going to... But, you know, there wasn't just me. There was loads of people at the time. There was loads of people that come forward, like, you know, people wrote books in the 70s.
But that wasn't the agenda, was it? The moon trip was to prove that we were a globe, and they lied about it and showed it as a globe.
I think sometime in the late 50s, like, they went...
That's when we turned into a globe. It was the 1960s.
Yeah, you know what happened? They found the edge, because obviously, like, we're covered by a firmament. It's got to have a down bit, like a sort of like snow globe. And they found the edge of it, and then they suddenly realised they found that. They went all the way into sort of like Antarctica, 300, 400 miles or whatever, and found the edge. And they, like, not sort of like the edge, like with regards that holds the water in, but the edge of the firmament. They had to, and I think this is why it all started. And they had to sort of like the moon landings. They got round. They said, look, this place has been created. Like, we've got to create it, but we've got to get these people dumbed down so they're not going to find out about it. So we're going to sort of like create a globe, because I actually see a video once where there was an Indian guy lives on an Indian reservation, like in I don't know, somewhere in America, Arizona or something, and he's never really been out in the outside world. And one day he went into town and all that, and he went into a sort of like hardware shop, and he said to the guy behind the counter, he said, "Excuse me, my friend, what's this here?" He said it's called a globe. It's where you live. And he started laughing. He said, "You're joking, mate, and you?" So just goes to show you. Now, there's indigenous tribes all around the world that know. Anyway, he said, "You're joking, mate." He said, all my sort of like ancestors, like, we've always known that this place is flat." And he said, you know, the proprietor of the shop started laughing his head off. And he said, "You're joking? They actually teach us at school, do they?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "This is what we're taught at school." And he said, and then I think even the shopkeeper got it. He said, "No, man." He said, "This is all rubbish." He said, "Like, I've never been off my reservation." He said, "But this is absolute rubbish, you know." And it just goes to show you, there are, because people turn around and say to me, "Okay, Gal, tell me people like that have known about this, like years ago." Well, what about when David Wise went into a care home? There was a woman in there for 104 years old, blind as anything, lover, like, you know, bless her.
Yeah, I remember that.
He said, "When you was at school, where was you? How was you taught, like, and where do we live?" She said, "Oh, we live on a flat plane. We live on a flat earth." And she said, "We were never taught." She said, "When I went to school," because remember, she's long dead now. She'd have to be about 120 now if she was alive. So, you know, he said, "Well, what was you taught when you were at school?" He said, "We was taught it was flat." So, like Karen said, it's only been in the last 60 or 70 years, and I think they found the edge. This is my theory. I think they found the edge of the snow globe. They found the firmament, because it has to come down to seal us, because otherwise the air's going to escape. And I think they found that, and this is what they had to concoct. Whether it was Admiral Byrd or someone else, who knows?
Well, that's probably why they've made Antarctica like it is. They don't want us going anywhere near it, because we might find the truth.
And do you know something? All these people that go to Antarctica, they don't go to Antarctica. I mean, that Jaron and all that lot, like, they weren't in Antarctica.
They never were. I think they took some pictures. They definitely were there, but in terms of what they were experimenting, that was done in somewhere else. I don't know where, but it was not in Antarctica, because they had the drone footage and all of that stuff. So they probably had to go down there and camp out. But
what you got to remember, Ashita, whatever experiments they done down there, right? Even if let's hypothetically say that it was all
those weren't even experiments. They were not experiments.
No, the thing is, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, right? You know, like some of them now said, "Oh, we must live on a globe now." We don't know how this place works. I think we're co-creators. I actually believe all of us, me, you, Karen, anyone else in our community, like, and others all around the world, we're co-creators. And I think there was a time, like, you know, like back to Tartaria, where we had this highly advanced technology. That's why all the world wars are, bloody, to blow it all up. So we, you know, I mean, people now are still saying, like, I've turned out to bleeding truck drivers before. Polish truck. I said, see that, mate? That's in sort of like Mesopotamia or whatever, like. that was built 500 years ago. How was it done? Oh, I tell you how it was done, Gary. It was done like with machinery and lorries and all that. I said, oh no, I said, we're told it's done with horse and cart. It's this is the thing. People now are starting, even the most people that are so asleep are starting to wake up and thinking, no, how can this possibly be? It's absolutely ridiculous beyond any scale, you know, and it's like, this is the trouble, you see, that they knew this time was going to come, but they were just wondering how many people, are we going to have a tipping point where we sort of like, we got reality change through enough of us, but because this place is metaphysical. That's why the Mandela effect happens. And I think this is what all this is all about, like trying to keep people dumbed down, because they know when there's enough people out there that are like us, it's over for them. And I think we're getting near to that. This is what you can see now. It's crumbling. The whole system's crumbling.
But I'm just thinking, like, okay, what's the next stage? Because I'm just waiting.
I'm ready.
And okay, cool.
I'm ready.
Exactly. I'm like, either take me out of this place or let's do something.
Do you know what?
I
I have my channels and I do put my stuff on, but I've told everybody all this stuff before, and then you have to dress it up. Maybe not all the stuff about Trump that's come out now, but generally you're giving them the same stuff over and over again. And in a way, it's frustrating.
Do you know something? I've got to the point whereby I don't do any street work anymore, because I think I told you, Karen, at the end of the day, we should have had that situation now whereby it's filtered through enough people. It's like, I think, and I do admire people that still go out there and do it. I really do. Like, if someone said to me, like, you know, well, there's another globe light tool, and I could go from where I live now, I would still sort of like help the gang. But I think it's an exercise in futility now, because it should have been a situation whereby it's filtered through enough people for then another person to tell someone, you know, you might get the odd few people that sort of like now. I think the people, generally speaking, the people that are going to get it, like, are going to get it. I mean, I watched the other day, my friend sent me like the Rick Mail video, and he mentions all this stuff. He didn't mention flood, but he mentioned 9/11. He mentioned like about vaccinations and what another, and then of course he was taken out about 3 months. Obviously, he was taken out. He's in the public eye. Now look at me. I've done much worse since I've been with you, Karen, and with others. Like, I've done much worse, but they just think to themselves, oh, they'll just think this bloke's batty. They'll think he's like ready for the nut house or whatever. But when you're in the public eye and you do it, like, let's go through them. Joan Rivers was taken out because she turned around and said like that.
No, she's definitely still alive.
You think Joan Rivers was still alive?
Yeah, there was a video clip of it was her voice, 100%, because she's got such a unique voice. No one else, like, it was very difficult for people.
She turned around and said Michelle Obama is Michael, didn't she?
It's like, oh, we already have a gay couple within the presidency.
That's right. That's right. We don't know. We don't know. She could have. When she said that, they could have turned around and said, "Well, look, you really overstepped the mark there. We've got to make an example of you." And she's living sort of like somewhere where we're never going to sort of like see her again, maybe. And she's gone off for retirement. Who knows? But
just that character died. She's still alive. Just her character as Joan Rivers has gone.
It's gone, yeah. She probably prop up at some point in history as someone else.
Do you remember the day after David Bowie died? Like, there was a bloke on Sky News.
He came on Sky News, and it was like, are you taking the piss? What?
Yeah, of course they were.
Do you know what? I don't think that was a live recording, because do you remember the screen glitching?
Yes, it glitched a little bit, didn't it?
It was glitching quite a bit around him, not on the presenter. Yeah. So that person was he was being filmed elsewhere. No, he wasn't there in the studio. It was insane.
You know something? I mean, all these people, like, I think
David Bowie is David Icke as well.
Do you know Michael Jackson? I remember because I grew up like with the Jackson 5 like, and all that, and I the letter Michael Jackson, it weren't him. I know he had loads of work done on him and all that. I think all these people like have been changed. Madonna looks completely different than what she did in 1984 when she sang Holiday. I see her in a are they cloned or are they just replaced? Do they sort of like the you know, it's just like with Paul McCartney, like with Billy Shears, and we think other people that played the role of Paul McCartney, not just Billy Shears, like. But I mean, let's face
Tom
it,
Cruise is Michael J. Fox.
But you know, I turned around and said to my uncle about Paul. I said, you know, he's passed away now, God rest his soul. I said to him, Paul, I said, you know, like. Paul McCartney has been played by Billy Shears since 1966. We don't know what happened to the original Paul McCartney, but it definitely ain't him because facial recognition experts absolutely have nailed it and said, like forensic experts, and said it's not the same guy. He's taller by about 4 inches. But people don't want to hear it. This is the trouble. It's better like flat earth, Ashita. People like living in a fake reality, and they don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear the truth. The thing is with us, we thought, well, hang on a minute, no. This is all bullshit, so I do want to know the truth. But I think most people prefer to live in the globalised version of reality, where it's sort of like it's a dog-eat-bloody-dog world. I mean, I work for a charity, like, all I do all the time is help people. I'll get mobility.
I put Trump on, so carry on.
I think people like living in a fake reality. Some people, I've actually spoke to people before, like, and they get it all. But yeah, they turn around and say, "Yeah, Gal, but I like my life." They like their materialism. They like their sort of like, you know, their new car every couple of years and one for another. They like living in a fake reality because the other reality don't seem, with everyone sharing everything, that the whole world equal, don't appeal to them because then they can't have sort of like one-upmanship and one for another. So for a lot of people, I think they get all this stuff, but they don't like it because it doesn't suit the way they know their lives to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what the answer is when it comes to humanity and what's the best way moving forward. All I can do is
think a lot of people know that things are wrong, and there's a lot of people, but they're not prepared to just stand up right now. But it might have happened with the ID cards because nobody wanted that.
That was the best thing that happened, Karen, because I never spoke to one person.
I was going to say to Sheeta, my son went to one of the rallies, 26th of January, I think it was. He said there was about 100 people there. He said, but there was a lot more police than people.
Really?
I think I was watching the live. It was actually quite funny because on one end, you've got these Palestine protesters. Then you've got the guys against digital ID. And then you've got this other group. And then this other group. And all on the same day, like a couple of feet away. There's a stage there for the pro-Palestine. There's a stage there for the digital ID people. But back to back, you wouldn't, unless you walked around the corner, they didn't even know what was going on. I was jumping between the lives and saying, "Hey, go."
Wow.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's bad.
Ashita, do you still go down Hyde Park?
I can't be bothered. It's not that I can't be bothered. It's just like I don't want to sit there arguing with people anymore. It's like it's no longer an argument here.
Agreed. I feel like we've done that part of this journey is done. I know people still.
For me, it is for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not changing my mind either.
Yeah, I think by now, Ashita, right? Ones that are going to get it. It's out there. You know, everyone's got computers or smartphones or whatever. They go down there, and you know, there's no point. It's like flogging a dead horse. You know, you're going to get for what you put into it. And you know, when we used to go down, like I used to enjoy sort of like meeting all you guys. But the amount of effort you put into it, what you're getting back, and all sort of like the abuse you get sometimes. I mean, you know. Sometimes I want to clock some people, like when they're being really sort of like feisty, they're saying, you're bloody mad, you are. You should be
it's a shame that we haven't found a way to... It's a shame we haven't found a way to do it, but you can't wake anybody else up. They've got to wake up themselves. But something you say... Because what it was is, I just remember seeing something on my screen that said that flat earth something or other, and I thought, oh no, after 9/11, like, oh no, not something else. But then, within a couple of weeks, I went and looked at something, and it was water 6 level. And when I saw that video, I thought, oh my God. That was it for me, one video. But I'd never thought about it before.
Exactly, that's what I said. The thing is, because we've all got busy lives...
Yeah, but look at us. We're all... I don't mean to sound horrible. There's probably millions of us, but we're all quite intelligent, intellectual people, and we're quite serious.
Yeah, 100%. That's why it's like, for me, I'm not going to sit there and argue with people over things that they can go and really decipher for themselves. So, like, you want to accept that you live in a Looney Tunes world, you go ahead and do that.
Destroy that as well, wasn't it? It's to make sure that didn't. Now you're on another crisis.
Do you know something, Ashita? It was different in the early days because it was a new thing. But now let's say like
10 years.
2014.
10 years.
2014. 2014. So you're talking about 12 odd years, right? Now it's an exercise in futility just standing on corners anymore doing it because the information's been out there that long, and like Karen quite rightly said, they got to want to do it themselves because otherwise the ones like us that did get it. I mean, on the early days, yeah, it was great. Oh, blimey, yeah, you're right, Gal. Blah blah blah. I meet people in the pub. Oh, you know what you're saying, Gal? I looked at it.
Well, we might have gone a bit quieter, but we ain't changed our minds.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's good because you can still see them people, and they say you're like, oh yeah, Gal, I've been looking at other things now. It makes them want to find out more. I've been investigating Todd's area. I've been investigating like the Mandela effect. I've been investigating.
Can I say something? I don't mean to be horrible to my boyfriend, but he is a globy, and no matter what I tell him and show him all the mistakes, pictures of the sun just above the land, and I say, it can't be 93 million miles away, Jimbo. Look, it's just there. He still thinks of the globe.
Some people's cognitive dissonance ain't gonna be broken down. It don't matter. It don't matter what you show them. I mean, when I used to go down and stay with my uncle, like before I used to go down to Hyde Park. It was a going joke. But, I hear on the phone, my sister, I'll get him flat earth people again. And then I lived in my landlady down there, they thought it was a Cadbury's fruit and nutcase. He used to say, like, oh, he's going down to Hyde Park again. Let him have his little moment of glory, like, he enjoys it, so just let him get on with it. And, you're going to get this kind of thing. You're going to get ridicule. I mean, it wasn't the ridicule so much that I minded so much of people being abusive, I'm not having people, like, be abusive to me. I don't care if you're a university professor, mate, or whatever you are, a lecturer. You'll get a right hander like everyone else if you carry on. Don't abuse me. At least give me like a little bit of feedback and say, oh, well, hang on a minute, mate. The reason why it is rather than just sort of like say, oh, you're mad, you lot. Go and study science, yeah, just like you, mate, and be a bloody moron. Yeah. But there you go. That's why I think we've come to the point now whereby, regards street work, it's I know a lot still do it, and it's great because people personally, because of the distance I've got to go in one thing or another. If there was one up the road or something, people like us has diminished greatly. It's got to the point where we've pretty much got all we're going to get. Basically, you're going to get the odd few people filter through, but I still see young people. It's great because sometimes down the spa I see young people and I get started talking to them. And when I start talking to them, I say, bloody hell, Gary, you know a lot about this. And they say to me something like, oh, do you know the Earth's flat as well? Like, I'll tell them about fake moon landings. It's great, because you've got a young person telling me, I looked at flat Earth, like we've been lied to, like, and they don't know me that I know about that. And then I say, oh yeah, I said, funny you should say that. Like, I've been on loads of the globe light tours, and I used to go down Hyde Park. Thinking, oh, did you? Yeah. But it's like there are a lot of young people coming through, but it's like I think it's got to the point. It's got saturation point where you're gonna get hordes and hordes of people now. Because
I was out with Trinity 4, and the people that asked the most questions were the children.
Yeah, always has been.
Yeah.
And also just...
What other subjects should we, sort of like, on the news at the moment, should we talk about? I mean...
I think the one that I'm looking into a lot, mostly on TikTok Live, so there's TikTok... I don't like to just scroll videos, but when you go on the lives, you're interacting with people there. And it's just, most of the time, it's just random people from all over the world. And it's about the transhumanism thing, transgenders.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe, no, honestly, I'm like, me listening to the debates that they have, it's actually really shocking. It's the state of mind where people feel they can't comprehend what a woman is. It's like...
ridiculous, yeah.
honestly, and it's not just the average Joe. These are scientists as well who are going out there pumping out this work and changing the dictionary, saying, someone who's transitioned is a woman. What's the definition of a woman? Oh, it's someone who feels like blah, 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 blah. And I'm just thinking, what the hell? I don't know. I'm kind of like a bit worried that these types of people...
Why are they pushing it? Don't mean to be horrible, but a lot of people are heterosexual, aren't they? So why are they pushing it so much? Why are they pushing that so much?
To confuse people. And you'll always notice this is mostly targeting kids, younger generations, the ones who can easily be manipulated into things. And I think that's what's the most scary thing, is the way that they're targeting all this information, this false information towards the younger generation, is going to give them like a proper mental breakdown at some point when they hit their 30s.
What do you mean if they catch it, say, when they're little and stuff?
No, but even people who aren't trans, right, that support that narrative, it's like they're going to have a massive meltdown. And the generation that's grown up within, like, let's say 2010, maybe even 15 upwards, I feel sorry for them, because their world, their perception of what the world is, has been so skewed. By the time they're in their 30s and their 40s, most of them are going to be, I mean, even a lot of young people now on like prescription medication for their mental health.
That's
they're
right.
not even 20 yet.
There's young kids now on prescription drugs because, like, I think it's overload. It's getting all this stuff, and it's confusing. It's confusing them.
It's huge. I mean, this is why, like, for example, Australia, they've decided to ban social media for anyone. I mean, they can never enforce it, but they've introduced a ban for social media for anyone who's under the age of 16. They're trying to bring that here in Europe as well. And I think no matter how much they try and enforce this type of nonsense, it's really down to the parents to take control of what their children are being educated with or who they're hanging out with. It was never an issue to this scale for people like us. We just grew up and we knew what was what. We weren't being told the opposite and being made to believe. And then apparently all these scientists are just throwing all this jargon into their minds and making it realistic. Even like the Oxford University are sitting there putting it in their paperwork. So when I hear them reading out that, like, oh, well, according to the Oxford University or this university, this is the definition of what a woman is, and I'm like, dude, this is a university saying this. It's not even, this is where they're getting, because they're getting
we're not humans anymore, are we?
Well, I am. I'm definitely human.
No, we are, but they don't like portraying that, do they, in the corporations and all that?
They're trying to take away our soul lot, and merge us with machines, aren't they? That's what they're trying to do.
We're a citizen.
I don't even know if machines just merge us with whatever the fuck they can. Do you know what I mean? As long as you accept it, that's fine.
So it's taking away your humanity again, and you're becoming like a bloody robot. You're sort of like got a biological body, but you're being gross.
Yeah, slowly removing your soul.
Mind you, when we were smaller, we weren't watching so much television. Now, my grandchildren are they're on their iPads or the television. It's just the moment they get home, on it goes. I mean, if I realised it, I'd never have let my children watch it as it grows up. But I didn't realise that that's what television was all about, programming you.
But even adults, like every time when I'm on public transport, I'm not on my phone. I'm just staring out into the world, seeing what's going on, because I like to observe my surroundings and whatever. But you go on any train during rush hour, everyone is looking down on their phone. Maybe the odd one or two people will be there being normal, but everybody is looking on their screen.
Do you know what I know? when I was a kid, like growing up, I mean, I still do it. I can walk into any pub when I was down the Spa today, and I speak to someone I've never known before. They're losing their social skills. Kids now haven't got the social skills that we just got as a natural thing, because I find that. You know, when
that's why customer service is so bad now on the phones. I can't stand it.
Young people, I find, they lack serious social skills, whereas, you know, people of our generation, my generation, and sort of like even your generation.
Maybe they haven't realised that the phone has made them alone.
It has, and basically they got all their friends on their phone, but then when they meet face to face, like, and they got to sort of like act socially, they find it difficult to do. I see it when I go down the gym or down the spa. I speak to some people, very young ones, and like I can tell that sort of like they struggle with social situations, because for them, they've never had to do it. They've always had their smartphone next to them or their computer, and they've done it all that way.
I've just got to go and check the banana cake. Carry on talking, I can smell it now.
No worries. I actually remember once, I think this was when I was like 19 or something, and even then, you know, smartphones were just becoming a thing that we were using. But I remember being in a room, there was about 7 of us, all hanging out, smoking, having a drink. And at some point I looked and I was like, why is everyone, no one was talking, they were all on their phones. Every single person. It's weird.
There you go. And you know, we never had, I mean, I remember the time when sort of like, you know, when we used to just have landlines, you know. I mean, obviously, like, you've been born in an era like where there's always been phones, but I remember a time when we had no way of contacting each other, and basically you used to sort of like have to go and find a red phone box, like, and phone up your mum. Oh, mum, I'm going to be late home. I remember when I was a little boy, like, was one of the first people to get a phone, like, in our sort of like council estate, and you know, people were coming and saying, bloody hell, Jack, what's that? I said, oh, it's a telephone. Oh, how do you afford that? Like, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And then one by one, like, they all got them. But of course, you know, a landline is completely different. A landline was a landline. I remember my mum, she used to like have this little lock thing on it, because we used to phone up all our friends, because it was such a...
You had a lock on it.
Yeah, this massive big bloody phone light, and then I said, Mum, what's that? I want to phone up Stephen or something. They said, well, go and see him. He lives like 5 doors away. It's a novel thing, and you know, you imagine if you got
strange?
someone...
They haven't let children be children anymore. You know, they're grown up by the time they're about 11, or they think they are. Well, were we like that? Were you still more a child than you, Gary? Were you more when we were growing up?
What was that?
Even in my teens, I was still childlike-minded. I would still go out and do stupid things.
I've still got a child mind now, and like, to be honest with you,
even as an adult.
I want to feel like I'm 65. I said to someone the other day, I said, like, he was talking, like, and then they said, how old are you, girl? And I said, like, I'm 65. And she wouldn't believe it. She turned around and said, you don't act like a 65-year-old. And I said, well, what does a 65-year-old meant to act like? Because
you're supposed to have a stick. I know that you use a stick, but that's because of your foot. But you're supposed to use a stick and bend over. You know, wobble, wobble.
You're not supposed to be full of energy.
No.
I don't even have to feel... I remember when I was sort of like growing up in the 60s, I just had my great uncles used to come and see me, like, and they, you know, they had their woodbine sticking out of their mouth, like, you know, their pinky blind, the cap on and braces and all that, and they were like old men. And I mean, I'm the same age as them now, and I don't act or feel like I'm a 65-year-old, and I think it's changed. I don't want to feel like I have to be, just because society's meant to make me sort of like, they are, blimey, I'm you know, 2 years off of pension age, and in 5 years time I'm going to be 70 and one thing or another. I like to still think I'm a young person. I've got a 20...
Young at heart, Gary, young at heart.
Yeah, and you shouldn't have to change who you are either.
No, I don't want to, and you know, I think like, you know, it's society tries to make you. I mean, the thing is, like, it's funny because my friend says to me, she can't get a doctor's appointment, like, for love nor money. Ashita, I get them thrown at me. I'm sure I've been red flagged. They're trying to sort of like put me on poison or something, because I get deluged all the time. Oh, you said you didn't want your bowel screening, like, you know, can you give us another stool sample now and whatever? Have you changed your mind? And I said no. I said I haven't changed my stance. I said I don't believe in pharmaceuticals. I said, like, you know, that is my. I'm not going to change my stance on it. I had to have an operation just on my shoulder, and I didn't take no drugs afterwards. I never, even though like I had this lesion on my shoulder, I had it cut out, and I didn't even have any sort of like anything to counteract the pain. I just stood it because I don't like taking pharmaceuticals. I mean, that's my personal choice. But it's funny because I think you get listed when you get to a certain age, because they consider you to be a useless eater, which I can work for a charity. But I think you what you know, they make up illnesses. You know, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my experience, I've been in and out of hospital. Not like anything too major, but it's like you. I hear a lot of stories where people are like, I can't get an appointment for this, da. I'm getting, within a year, my issues are getting resolved. Whereas when people are like, I've been on the waiting list for longer than a year, and I don't understand why that is. I don't get it.
I don't understand it. And do you know something? It's a strange thing, because I do think to myself, I wonder like whether like, you know, obviously like they, you know, the NSU over in America and whatever, like, has got a database. This is why people make me laugh. They turn around and say, oh, Gail, I've got end-to-end encryption. I say, you're kidding, mate. Every phone call that's ever been made, everything you've ever done, they can retrieve it if they want it.
It's what, even it's 10 times worse now. They've introduced this thing basically where the government now can screen your message before it even reaches you. Like they can proofread, and if there's any, there's a lot of privacy that we're losing in terms of phones.
I don't think anything has been private. I think they've got it all. They've got it all sort of like in massive big banks of computers somewhere. You know, nothing is completely private. And if they wanted to sort of like look at it, they bloody can. And to be honest with you, I get to the conclusion that sort of like, is it beyond the realms of possibility that people like us are on some kind of list, and they say, oh, that bloke there, like, go and get him sort of like screened, and then we can put him on pharmaceuticals or something, you know. I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, because this is all I hear all the time, Ashita. I hear like, oh, I can't get a doctor's appointment, love nor money.
One thing I hear is that they like keeping. They all tell everybody to ring at a certain time, like 8 o'clock or 8:30.
Oh yeah,
ring
first thing in the morning, but they only have 10 slots.
And you got to wait for your slots. You could be number 20.
Nah, it's become a joke, but I don't know. Like I say, I'm just not waiting. I'm just anticipating for something major to happen. Either a war breaks out or they fucking change.
To know something, Peter, I think you're right. I think something, I can feel it like in the ether. Like I get
well, it could be that President Trump and Keir Starmer resign. That would be quite big, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would not change a thing. That is not going to change anything.
No, neither's the other either. That's just a game.
It's either another world war. It's another world war. It's
Civil war.
Civil war. Fake alien invasion.
Well, have you heard? Like Italy's up in arms. They've been not working, so they don't have to pay their taxes and things.
Yeah, so many countries have been striking.
They're always having marches and everything.
But it needs to be done on a scale where everybody.
The tractors took over London, didn't they? I love that. If that was real, they took over very quickly.
Yeah, even in France, they've been doing it in France. They actually, the one in France has been quite successful. They actually put manure all over the place. Manure, potatoes, you name it. They just covered the street. There was fires. I was like, damn, the world is crumbling. So yeah, I'm anticipating something. I don't know what it's going to be, but.
And you know, it's amazing because we got numbers. If we all get together, they haven't got the might or the numbers to counteract us. And I mean, me and Karen realised that when we was on the anti-COVID march, like probably 5 odd years ago now. I mean, they were anticipating there to be a couple of hundred people, and there was about 2 million, and they just had to stand back. The feds had to stand back. They had no choice but to stand back. And then when you see Sky News, they said, "Oh yeah, a couple of hundred people gathered up in Trafalgar Square." It wasn't. It was a couple of million.
Because me and Gary are sort of limpers. We got to a roundabout, and I said sorry to this guy in the roundabout because all the taxis everywhere was stuck, And the guy said, "No, I'm with you."
And we had a military man. There was a military man, like, and I was talking to him. We were talking to him, and I said, "You know something, mate?" I said, "You know, it's hard to say." I said, "Because I've actually got my family. A lot of my family's military, like, you know." But I said, "Do you realise most wars, almost all wars, are scripted?" I said, "There's some power crazed idiot like that's sort of like for control. They control both sides, like they can make money out of both sides. And basically, you know, how many? I actually say to military people, why did you fight their country?" And they say, "Oh, well, I was told to." I said, "No, why did you?" And nothing about like because you've been instructed to. You know, you're being asked to go and kill someone you don't know for nefarious reasons. You know, and a lot of people don't like me. There might be some military people like hearing this and not liking what I'm saying, but you know, we've all done our research and we know like that almost all these wars are bloody scripted.
And when push comes to shove, you watch the armed forces and the police will side with us because they're human. I'd like to think most of them are human, but they're just as fed up.
Well, I saw this video the other day that the police can't arrest anymore because they're supposed to operate under common law, and right now the Corporation Council pays for them, which is illegal.
Well, we've known the police force aren't really operating as like under common law because they're enforcing statutes and acts. So to me, it's like, well, people are getting arrested for all sorts of nonsense, but then when it comes to real criminals, organized crime, we're talking white collar crime, they don't do anything. Where's Matt has to get him, despite putting people in prison all throughout lockup for non-social distancing, not wearing a mask, you name it. It's just the nonsense that went on during that time.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like they've not been acting under common law maybe for a good 15, 20 years maybe.
Yeah, so it means they can't arrest you.
Well, but they don't arrest you, they kidnap you.
Yeah, it is.
By
Everything,
force.
have you noticed? Everything is wrong.
It's backwards, completely backwards.
You don't notice it. When you know, years ago, I knew everything was wrong, but it's sort of like you become awake in little bits and pieces, like in little columns. But then, like you said, now you realise it's not everything that little parts are wrong. Everything is wrong. It's like from bottom to top. It's like you can pick any subject you want. I'm watching Brian Cox on the TV at the moment, like, you know, that astro-blinking physicist.
Well,
and
he must
was
be your favourite then.
With a load of cosmonauts over in Russia, like, you know, and obviously, like, he's well and truly paid for. But it's like, you know, there might have been a time when I watched this and, oh my God, look at that, like, they're going out of space. But because, like, I didn't look into it. Once I looked into it, I realised that's wrong. Then you look at the medical industry, the pharmaceuticals, you realise that's all wrong. You know, there's people sort of like, you know, they get cancers and diseases and one another, and then they're given no hope anymore, like, and then they find natural cures. It's like every subject you go on, you know, organised religions, that's wrong as well. And every subject you sort of like look at, you think to yourself, I mean, my friend tries to go with me from the charities, tries to go with me all the time, like to go to church all the time. Like people saying to her, I don't want to do it because she's so sort of like so asleep and bless her, like, you know, she's got a lot of disabilities. Where do I start with her? I mean, it's like it's a bombshell. It's like where would I start with a woman like, you know, like and I love it a bit, bless her, like Texas, but it's like where would you actually start? I mean, when I go to Great Yarmouth with her, like, you know, I don't mind going to the Minster like on a Sunday because I'm just admiring sort of like the architecture or whatever. But the actual guy coming round at the end, like, was sort of like, you know, holding a little thing out and people wanted to put money in and one thing and another. I think to myself, well, hang on a minute, it's not going to be that way. And I tell the Jehovah's Witnesses I talk to them all the time, like Jehovah's Witnesses, they, you know, because they're globies as well, like, you know, I've tried to sort of like tell them like that we don't live on a globe, and I said, I agree with everything a lot of you say, yeah, we're being created, this space being created, everything else, but, you know, why do you, and there's no point because they get their cognitive dissonance is on another level. For sure. Actually, the thing with the sheet is actually like it is a real thing whereby it's almost they get scared at a submission when they go there. It's a cult. So basically, they're told you've got to do this, you've got to do that, otherwise you're going to go to hell. So you're not allowed to have a blood transfusion, like when I had my accident, like those years ago, like nearly a quarter of a century ago now. But I don't know whether I had a blood transfusion or not. I bleed out of the cat, But you get people, you get Jehovah's Witnesses going to hospital, they won't have a blood transfusion because the elders tell them they're going to go to hell. You've got to do this, you've got to do that, and like it's a cult, and they don't realise that they're brainwashed. I think all you've got to do enough is just be good to people, help people when you can, be nice to people. Don't sort of like we know what we got to do in this place. We don't have to sort of like have someone in a pulpit. You can speak. I speak to God straight to God all the time. I don't have to work for an intermediate. I can talk to God anytime I want, and I do. And and he puts me right. I mean, strange things happen to me, Ashita, which literally, definitely are organised. I'll give you a little example. This morning, I went into a cafe. I've never been so far. As you know, I work for a charity, and one of the geezers under my care, I was on the way round to see my mobility scooter, and I happened to go into the cafe. I've never been before. I'm like, oh, that looks good. It's like a little theme cafe. And I got talking to a really nice guy in there, a West Indian guy, and I said, "Oh, what do you do for a living, mate?" And he said, I repair and I work for a mobility scooter place. And it just happened to be, I really think it was like God set up this certain situation, because I've never been in this cafe before. I actually went past it on the scooter, and I come back round. I thought, let's have a look in there. And I said to him, I've got a problem, like, I said, there's a woman, now you couldn't make this up. I said, one of my neighbours, her husband passed away the other year, and I've got, my ski manager always gives me the old mobility scooters, and people that pass away or they can't use them anymore, and I'll restore them, and I'll give them to people. I'm having trouble, I have to open up the battery case to find out the size of the battery before I can order a new battery. And he said, there's a website here, mate. He said, I use them all the time. And he gave it to me. And you're not saying that hasn't been orchestrated. I've literally gone in this cafe, I've never gone before. There's two people in there, me and him, sitting next to each other, and he's in the same game as what I'm in. You couldn't make it up. And obviously, we were sort of like, we were swapping stories about this, that and the other, and I'm saying, oh yeah, I've got these lithium iron phosphate batteries now. He said, oh, blah, 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 you can do this, you can do that, do the other. He said, what scooter you got? I said, it's a Rascal. He said, oh no, Rascal, blah, blah, blah. And it's almost like we were drawn together. It's like it's like an angel in heaven or something, like it's drawing me, because that solved my problem. I had a big problem. It might not seem much of a problem. I thought, my God, I'm going to have to take that battery case off. I said, look, Viv, you can use it like a little couple of times. You get down to town, send them back. I said, but it does need new batteries soon. But I didn't know how to go about it. And into my reality steps this guy that I've never seen before, who's actually in that game. It's almost like planned. You with me?
It was meant to be, yeah.
It's like I've got a script. That script is sort of like I've asked like the universe for sort of like something, even subconsciously or consciously, and they've delivered. And most people when they go through life, they just don't see all these things. I think we all have these random events. I remember, because sort of like one of my greatest traits, which, by the way, over at the other side of the pond, I've only been doing it for the last few years. I've always seen Karen. I've done a video about it. I see number plates, and I see number plates that correspond with things in my life. It's a very good thing, because vehicles are moving around all the time. So sometimes it's like I was leaving my flat one day when COVID happened. I thought, how can I get out of sort of like not taking a jab? So I'm walking down the road, and I see a number plate, and it said ACE JW. So Jehovah's Witnesses, so I thought, just not, because at that time we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know it was by consent or whatever. And I was told, well, just become a Jehovah's Witness guy. You don't have to sort of like actually be one of them. Once it's all over, like, you can get out of it. It's like, and I think we all have this in our life, but you see it, Ashita. I've spoken to you before about this. Everyone has this in life, but because everyone's got such busy lives, they're paying mortgages, driving around, taking the kids to school, taking the kids to football, one another. They haven't got the time to analyse this. Me and you are analysers, and Karen, we analyse when we're out and about. We're living in this like holographic reality where sort of like things are brought to us, and I think it happens to everyone, but unfortunately most people don't recognise it. But because we're sort of like woke to a certain degree, we recognise all this stuff, and it happens to me all the time. And this morning I thought to myself, I've got to mention that tonight on the podcast with someone's been brought into my reality. I asked the universe for something, and it delivered. I mean, you couldn't really make it up. All right, some people would turn around and say, oh, well, it was just chance. But this guy actually lived in Brentwood in Essex. He was just up here, like, working or something, you know what I mean? He was doing the rounds, so he didn't even have an office light. And I think to myself, that doesn't seem to me like a random event. Most people would think that their whole life is a random event, but I actually believe we have structure in our life. What you think is just, oh, well, a random event. I don't think so. I think we're guided to a certain degree, and it's only people like us that pick up on it, you know. And I think the more weight you become, the more you pick up on it, you know.
Well, the more you slow down your mind and your life to be able to experience all of this stuff, because it's like once you've tuned into it, it becomes such a natural. It's not that it doesn't exist, but it becomes more ordinary to you because suddenly you're able to almost control this space that's been ignored.
I believe we're getting in a situation, you know, all of us that are sort of like, you know, been looking at this stuff, you know, for how many years or all your life or whatever, where we're actually structuring our life, and it's becoming like entwined into our life. And other people can't see it at all. I mean, you know, this video we're making tonight, like, if I showed some of my mates like that I watch football with and one thing, they were like, or Gary's doodah, you know, I'm trying to sort of like, you know, the people you can talk to about this stuff and the people you can't, because some people, it's just the shutters go down and that's it. But I believe like the more you do this, the universe will help you. Like, I think the creator will put things into your reality to help you along the way. Like a simple little thing like that happened to me this morning, right? Someone else just said, man, so it's just a random event. But I don't look at it that way. I think and I think it makes my life more interesting. Now I sort of like see these things like happen to me all the time. It's not like, I mean, it was scary at first. Sometimes I used to sort of like see these things. I'm like, my God, you know, it frightened me. But now I've learned to live with it, because I realised that because we're evolving, our spirituality is evolving at such a degree, we can see these things. But I think everyone's got, I'm not special, none of us are special. We can all do it. It's just the education indoctrination system has dumbed us down to not be this sort of like hyper sort of like spiritual being that we all can potentially be.
No, for sure. It's all there. All it takes is a person really slowing down their mind and their lifestyle and removing a lot of things. You know, I barely drink throughout the year. I think the only time I have a drink is like special occasions when I'm meeting family, so birthdays, Christmas, that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm like. I don't drink.
You'll never see alcohol in my house. Even, you know, smoking. When was it? Last year I stopped smoking. Just cut it out. I was trying to break that habit for years and years, but something just clicked last year. Back it in.
I remember when I used to meet you down Hyde Park, and we used to go for coffee and Costa Coffee and all that. You were still having the odd fag then, weren't you? The odd one.
Yeah.
Can I just say that I've got to go shortly, because...
Oh, right. This has been a fantastic...
We've been going for an hour and a half, though.
Do you know so? We've been going for about an hour and a half, haven't we?
Yeah.
It does not feel like it. I can't believe it's almost 8:30.
I know, you're just getting going.
When you're enjoying yourself, time speeds up and it goes very, very quickly. When you're having a dismal time, it's like when I was up having my operation, like, it only took about like I was in and out, like, it was only about 3/4 of an hour, but it seemed like a day and a half, you know. Because they didn't use enough. He didn't use enough anaesthetic, the surgeon. He made a wonderful job on my shoulder. It's really great, but it's like, I think when you're in times of distress, time slows down. Which is why I don't believe in time. I believe the perception of time is what we've all to believe. But I believe everything is now. I believe past, present, and future is intertwined now in different dimensions. Everything is here. This is why we're seeing Tartaria now. We didn't see it sort of like, you know, when we first see Flat Earth like 10 years ago. But Tartaria was in there. So I think everything... It
was always surrounding us. And that's what's wild.
It was around us, but we have to be on a certain frequency and spiritual level to be able to see these things. And this is why I think we're in a very exciting time now. People like us, you know, listen, we've done all we can do for other people. We can't, even like my family members, we've done all we can do for them. And the thing is, what you've got to remember, we're ready for anything they throw at us. You know, if I got Sky News tomorrow night and I see a load of UFOs like land on the White House lawn, I'm not going to sort of like go outside screaming, "Oh, we're being invaded by aliens from outer space," because we've done our research.
I'm just going to have my popcorn and just watch the world.
And you're quite right. What's the trouble with these days, Ashita? They want everyone. Now, when they say you want your own business, busy. You see it all in the wording, busy. It doesn't give you time to think. So basically, you're rushing around trying to make money. Be a multi. Let's face it. Most people don't live much past bloody 100. So at the end of the day, you're gonna go one day. They sort of like flying around. They haven't got time to take in the world like we do. I've slowed my life right down to and, you know, I've got a little mobility scooter that goes 4 miles an hour. I still walk perfectly okay, but one of the people from the charity give me it, you know, and I love this little thing, and it's like I'm now slowing my life down, and I'm noticing things that maybe even 10 years ago I wouldn't have noticed. That guy in the cafe this morning, like, you know, the significance of that, the synchronicity of actually meeting that guy when I wanted to sort of like find out, well, and he texted me, he's already texted me like the phone number, like, of where I can, the website where I can find out without taking the battery casing apart. And you know, that movement seems so significant for some people. For me, I think it's all about synchronicity. And you know, the more you give out the sort of like, let the creator know, like, that, you know, we're on the right side, you will get these little snippets, and I think we all do. But I think most people don't pick up on it, and they just go through their humdrum life. And you know something, the strangest thing is, this place makes me laugh sometimes. I mean, I told Karen this before, like the Rolls Royce syndrome. There's two guys. There's Malcolm and there's Abe. Like, they both got Rolls Royces. They both had a crash the same day. Like, they both wrote off their Rolls Royces, and Abe phoned up Morris and said, "Hey, Abe, I've had the worst day of my life today. I've crashed my Rolls Royce. Like, I'm in bits. What am I going to do?" And Morris turned around and said, "Well, I've crashed my Rolls Royce. I've had the best day ever. Like, I'm still alive." And the point is, any situation you have in life, you can always see two parts of it, a good part and a bad part. Even at the time, it might seem as if you're going through a trial. You think, hang on a minute, it's not that bad after all. The trouble is, I think society has made everyone sort of like so desperate to sort of like earn a buck and one thing or another, they miss out on this. They've forgotten what's the most important thing in life. I mean, let's face it, we're alive, we're breathing. There's poor kids in Gaza like ain't got a blinking meal tomorrow. You know, we've got, if you've got a roof over your head, food in your belly, like, and water, and I must admit, I'll still have a few pints of Guinness like I always did. I mean, like Karen knows, but when I used to go down Karen, like, if she was working, like, I used to disappear down the pub and have a few pints, and then she'd come and pick me up later. That is my guilty pleasure. Listen, that is the last thing I've got. If you talk about all the deadly sins, the last thing I've got to shoot like, is a few pints of Guinness at the weekend. It's not too bad.
That's not even a deadly sin, come on. I still enjoy it. I still like to have a good beer and wine. It's just I don't bring it into the house, that's all.
No, I don't. During COVID, like, I had 4 cans of Guinness in the fridge that the old boy downstairs got me because I was doing little things for him. And I think I had 1 can the whole of lockdown. So it just goes to show you I'm not really a home drink. I do it for socialising, you know, going down a pub and another guilty pleasure of mine, like, is still watching football. I know it's all scripted bullshit, but you know, I don't know what to say.
So even you can't let go of the old world, the old glaze.
Like compared to what some other people do, like yours is just nothing.
But anyway, listen, I've kind of got. We've been going for an hour and a half now. I've kind of got to go in a minute.
No, that's fine. We can wrap it up and let's try and do another one before summertime or something. Definitely not 2 years.
Yeah, but that'd be good.
Before we go, let's all say one thing to see who's going to be right. What is the next big event? I think it might be something along the lines of like climate change. So I'll go for climate change. Right, what's yours, Ashita? Lockdown.
Civil war. Civil war.
What's yours, Karen?
Well, I'm hoping Trump and Keir Starmer resign at the same time.
They probably will, but you're just going to have the next Muppets to deal
But
with.
it is a bit crazy how it is like, you know, they obviously want you watching the news because they want you to hope to get to the next stage. Oh, well, Malaina's this, now she's going to prison, now she's going to be chucked out the country, whatever it is. They just want to get to the next stage, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, but you know, like I say, I'm anticipating something major.
I agree. There's going to be something we might, because what you got to remember, most of us didn't see.
Do you think it'll be more a natural disaster or something?
They've been doing that. They've been doing that throughout the year. So many places have been hit with fires. They call it natural.
We need a bigger one.
Look at the floods in this country. Look at the floods in this country. Up in Worcester, I was watching on the news. They've flooded out. It's floods now. Do you know it's rain? It's rain now. Down at sort of like the meteorological office, like in, someone told me next to or something. It's rained every day since January the 1st. It's never happened before. They've had rain.
Yeah, honestly. That's what it feels like. It's so depressing.
We didn't do much about weather manipulation tonight, but we know that exists as well. I mean, they've been doing it all the time. You know,
but at least it's warming up a little bit, so hopefully the rain's going to stop soon.
Nah, even if it warms up, they'll still make it rain.
Well, they mess around with everything. We're eating chemicals. Oh, it's disgusting. And they're playing with our lives. And do you know what I don't like about the fake history? The fake history means, I just remember like Elvis Presley, or for instance, or just pick him. I cried when he died. I think I was 9. Can't remember.
Who's that? Elvis.
I cried, but what he did was
he
gave me. No, I'm not going to cry over him. But oh yeah, Trump. Yeah, because he's Elvis. Yeah, that's right. But what it was is it gave you fake history. It gave you fake emotions. You were crying. Look what the Gulf War did. People would watch it every day because they were so engrossed in it. It gives you fake history, fake emotions, and I hate them for that.
They take your energy. All the people like that watch all this. I remember my sister turned around and said that at the time, my 2 nephews like were little kids like, and she went to school like when 9/11 happened, and one of the other women like dropping her kids off, turned around and said, "Oh, I've been watching the news like 9/11, and it amazing and interesting." My sister, obviously she's asleep as you like, she turned around and said, "That's the most disgusting thing I've ever sort of like heard." Like this woman was sort of like saying, and it's sort of, and it interesting and amazing. I mean, you know, even if it was true, and they actually, they're getting the energy out of it, aren't they? By them sort of like saying things like that. You wouldn't say something like that, would you? I want it amazing. Like, look at them towers going down. No, it's bloody terrible. If he was in there, you wouldn't say that, love.
Oh, well, they've made the world mad, haven't they? It's all madness.
Yeah. Do you know something? I think I said it to you a few years ago, Ashita. I said, you don't have to go out there and look for the same, for the mad people. Look for the same people. Because I actually do that now. There's more mad people than the same people out there, love, I tell you. There's like, because if they can't see all this stuff that we're seeing, most of it is common sense, you know, and they can't see it.
Mm. I've got to go now.
All right, no worries. Well, thank you for setting this up together. It was lovely talking with you guys.
Yeah, it was. Well, maybe we could do it in, like I say, a month's time or something.
Sorry, say that again?
Maybe we could do it in a month's time or something.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You can see what's changed and what's happened in the last month.
Do you remember a few years ago I said you're more than welcome to come up here if you've got like you know, if you want to stay for a night or something, you can come up here and we can. I'll take you around the town or something. But if not, I'd love to catch up with you at some point.
Yeah, no, definitely in person, because I think, as I said, I'm just done with online, being online. Yeah. I need more human interaction.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're more than welcome. You got my number. You know, if you say, just give me like a couple of weeks back to play a Gaz, I'll take you up in the offer like we'll stay with you overnight, and I'll take you.
Listen. Can we just finish the hangout, and I can say goodbye, but you two can carry on talking for 10, 20 minutes or something.
Well, I'm gonna start cooking dinner because I didn't realise how late it was.
Yeah,
But
I'm dying to go to the loo. I've been crossing my legs for the last week now.
Oh, let's
And
catch
that
up
as
in a
well.
month's time.
all right,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you, Karen. Gary,
Oh, no,
lovely
thank
speaking with
you.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Gary.
love you both, and love you both as always, and we'll do another one in a month's time. Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
then.
much love, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very
All right,
much,
bye.
both of you. Chat room. Thank you, thank you, thank you.